From Nutrien Ag Solutions, this is Senior Meteorologist Andrew Pritchard with your Canadian Prairie weather story for Monday, January 10th, 2022. We're going to start off with current temperatures across the region. A lot of colder air being moved off to the north and to the east. Mild air beginning to replace that as we build a ridge of high pressure in there. So strong jet stream flow. The jet stream loves temperature gradients. So we got strong flow right through this region. We've got storm systems kind of riding over the top of that ridge and then slicing from northwest to southeast across the Canadian Prairie. That's going to be the theme over the next 5 days or so. Take a look at the satellite picture. You can see that jet stream flow coming up and over the top of the ridge there. Cloud cover across much of Alberta. Cloud cover across much of the prairies. We get started here early this week on Monday, and even some light snow being picked up here on the radar across portions of southeast Saskatchewan down into southwest Manitoba. Maybe some snow falling here north of the Grand Prairie, Peace River region as well. Now, as we take a look at the forecast going through the next 4.5 days, this will take us into Thursday evening. This is the NAM model. We really see much of the same as we head through the week. Again, we're going to keep that northwest to southeast flow in the jet stream, little clipper systems embedded within that, bringing light doses of snow to the region, mostly inconsequential as we talk about the primary Prairie region. Chances for maybe some more substantial snow north of Highway 16 later on in the week. And then the dry spot here, which we'll talk a little bit more about later in this video, going to continue to be southern Alberta into southwestern Saskatchewan, mostly missing out on the snow here as we go through the next 5 days or so. From the NAM, total snow between now and Thursday evening. Again, you see the potential there for some heavier snow near Highway 16. That's later on in the week. We'll compare the NAM on the left, the European on the right. You see pretty good agreement there, both with the dry pocket across southern Alberta, southwest Saskatchewan, and with the very narrow, heavier corridor of snow potentially near Highway 16. This would be very near, Peace River, Grand Prairie, Edmonton, Saskatoon, the usual suspects here who have been on the line here with some of our more substantial measurable snows so far this season. We take the European model all the way through the next week, so we're into January 16th, 17th. We keep the drier region here across southern Alberta, southwest Saskatchewan, and then we continue to drop the heavier snow near and north of Highway 16 through the next 7 days. The reason for that, well, again, we got the big ridge right here, troughing, moving off to the east, so flow coming up and over the top of the ridge. This is a system, or a setup, that's going to be bringing in that northwest to southeast flow, that northwest to southeast storm track, and lighter but rather frequent doses of snow in some areas here. Again, we're dealing with a little bit more ridging and a little bit more difficult to bring that snow into southern Alberta, southwest Saskatchewan. So frequent light snow about everywhere but there over the next 5 to 7 days. Now, as we animate this, you can see the story. The ridge continues here. We get cyclonic flow around that, and we get storm systems just riding up and over the top of the ridge until we get toward the end of the loop here. Potential pattern change to talk about, but there you see the pattern as we head through the next few days, really being dominated by that ridge across the western U.S. and then building into portions of British Columbia, troughing off to the left. So we get that flow coming between the trough to the east, the ridge to the west and to the south, northwest to southeast flow in the jet stream here for us. So it was proposed to me. Let me go ahead and just jump back to a precipitation map here again. I mentioned southern Alberta, southwest Saskatchewan. It was asked last week, what's it going to take to change this pattern? How can we bring some heavier precipitation into this region that continues to get missed by the snowfall here early this year, in a region that badly needs some moisture as we head into the end of winter and early spring? So what does it take? Well, what I did was I went through and I looked at over the last 40 years the 10 most active January, February, and March periods across southern Alberta and far southwest Saskatchewan. And then I said, what does the mean 500 millibar jet stream pattern look like there? And what I'm doing there is looking at the mid-levels of the jet stream. What's the background state during these most active late winter, early spring time periods that we have on record across the very dry region right now, southern Alberta, southwest Saskatchewan. And what we get is a big trough anchored right here over western Canada, specifically over southern British Columbia into southern Alberta. We also see a large ridge over the Aleutian Islands back over the Pacific Ocean. So what we get is jet stream flow coming over that ridge down around the base of this trough doing something like this. Now when we get this strong southwest flow in the jet stream coming around the base of a trough, this allows us to develop surface areas of low pressure on the kind of the exit region there, the entrance region to the jet stream coming around the base of the trough. Now when we do that, the lower levels of our jet stream are able to kind of pull in from the south into the southwest. And this does a couple of things. One, we tap into the Gulf of Mexico, which is our best source of deep moisture when we talk about heavier precipitation events from the Canadian Prairie down into the lower 48 of the United States east of the Rockies. The other thing we do here is we've got the Rocky Mountains kind of doing something like this. If we can bring in easterly flow up against those mountains, I'm going to draw off to the right. We'll draw our imaginary mountain range, something like that, snowy peaks. We bring the winds in from the east. We hit the Rockies there. That air is forced upwards. When we do that, we get rising motion, we get cloud cover, we get the added effects here, helping to maybe enhance the precipitation across the region. So we get a couple of things when we get a pattern like this with major troughing over Western Canada, specifically British Columbia into southern Alberta. We induce storm systems over the region, and we induce them in such a way that we get that fetch from the Gulf of Mexico. We're also bringing that moisture up and over the top of the area of low pressure here, getting a little bit of aid from the Rocky Mountains, and then helping to really focus that precipitation, deposit a lot of that moisture over southern Alberta and southwest Saskatchewan. So this is the surface pressure anomaly during those most active years. Again, we get low pressure right here across the U.S. and Canada border near British Columbia, southern Alberta. Again, the flow coming around that, tapping into the Gulf of Mexico, and then storm system amplifies here. We get that heavy snowfall across the region. We've got one more thing here. This is the vector winds at 850 millibars. So this is our low-level jet, and you can follow the arrows. We're getting that fetch from the Gulf of Mexico, and then we're also taking that flow and butting it up against the Rocky Mountains here. So we get storm system developing in the ideal area. We're tapping into deep moisture, and we're also enhancing that with the Rocky Mountains. So is there any hope that we go toward that? This is what we've got right now. Remember, we're looking for a big area of low pressure across this region. Not happening over the next 5 days as we take a look at the European ensemble forecast here through the 13th of January. As we head, though, into this is going to be days 14 and 15, getting out toward the third week of January. We're starting to build some troughing in from the Hudson Bay down toward the western U.S. We're getting a little closer. We're taking this ridge, pushing it off to the west, digging in with some troughing across the region. This is going to be, again, you see the northwest to southeast storm track. This is really kind of the same pattern. It's going to help us bring in some cold air. It'll keep the frequent light snow going here as we get into the third week of January. But we take it further, showing you the European weeklies. Now, full disclosure, this run is about 3 days old. So hopefully we get a new look here in the next day or so. And, I say hopefully we will get a new look, but hopefully it continues this trend. You see the trough here. Look at this. Comparing on the left, our most active January, February, and March patterns. Very similar here. We've also got the ridge across the Aleutian Islands. Now, it's not a perfect match as we look off toward the east, but this would be a start. This would help us start developing, potentially some storm systems in a better location, a better trajectory, a better storm track, and potentially tapping into the Gulf of Mexico. And then, as such, we look at the 30-day precipitation forecast from late January into late February over that same time period. And there you see it, above average precipitation being forecast across that crucial region of southern Alberta and southwest Saskatchewan. Now, we're talking about way out there. We're not talking about the strongest signal. But again, when we compare this, on the left, we got the forecast for late January into late February. And then on the right, I'm showing you the precipitation anomaly. I know it's not a very high resolution map here, but where the precipitation was heaviest during, again, the months that the years that we analyzed, January, February, March, our most active time frames there. And again, we see some good overlap. Pattern like this, very active in the region we care about, obviously, southern Alberta, southwest Saskatchewan into the Pacific Northwest. We see a good overlap there. And then also here across the southern U.S. into the Ohio River Valley, the Mid-Atlantic, that shows us we're getting that fetch from the Gulf of Mexico. So the Gulf is open. We're developing storm systems in the right place. We've got the correct storm track, potentially getting aid from the Rocky Mountains there, our terrain influence there. That's what it would take. Is it going to happen over the next 3 weeks? No. Is it going to happen by the time we get to February? Well, early signs say it just might. So we're going to have to wait a little bit. Until then, it's going to be light doses of snow. We'll jump back into the forecast here. Hopefully that analysis was a little bit helpful there. Just a little Monday morning project. I appreciate that. We'll take a look at the forecast, the Euro snow forecast over the next 7 days. Again, that chance for some light snow near and north of Highway 16 as we head through the end of the week. Potentially a more organized storm system sneaking in through here Thursday into Friday. This one could have a little bit more in the way of substantial precipitation, especially across portions of east central, southeast Saskatchewan, getting into southern Manitoba. This one Thursday and Friday. Take this through the weekend. The same pattern continues. Northwest to southeast storm track. Most of these are going to produce light, measurable but generally inconsequential doses of snow here, such that over the next 7 days, or next 6, I should say, we're taking it through midday Saturday. Again, you see generally on the dry side, southern Alberta into southwest Saskatchewan. Generally on the light side here, near and north of Highway 16, 5 inches of snow here, 10 to 15 centimeters of snow, something like that. We add in the next couple of days here, taking it through the 19th of January. Very similar pattern. Again, drier in this region, generally light snow, frequent opportunities for light snow near and north of Highway 16. Your temperatures over the next 10 days, mild temperatures overspreading the region. We are going to start to trend a little bit cooler here, days 5 to 10. Potentially cooler still in days 10 to 15, but really some question marks beyond the 2-week time frame. But some reason for optimism as we look at the forecast in southern Alberta and southwest Saskatchewan, as far as some snow, maybe as we get into the very end of January and then on into the month of February. Calgary, your next 10 days, high and low temperatures. Again, we'll be dealing with or enjoying the mild temperatures through the work week here, cooling off as we head into the weekend, into the early part of next week. That's going to be a similar story here in each of our following cities here. Edmonton, mild the next few days, cooling off. Same look here in Saskatoon, Regina, and then Winnipeg. Those highs back into the negative teen region as we get into next week. Have a wonderful week.